Alright everybody, welcome back to the World's Worst Fishing. I'm Chris Jones and I have quite a task ahead of me. I have to make 160 core shot stick worms, which means I'm going to have to double that essentially, because the core shot worm, you're kind of making, you know, your 2 shots per worm. So, and I only have one 5 cavity mold, which means I'm making 160 worms, 5 at a time. I'm excited, can't wait, let's go try it. Okay, so here is my core shot mold. You'll see I have the rods over here because I need to oil them up. So this is just regular worm oil. I kind of ran out of my really good lubricant spray. So you just kind of get some worm oil on them, set those down. So I have to make a clear shell, just straight clear plastic, nothing in it, not even glitter. Clear just like this guy, okay? Clear shells with a blue kinda and black pearl core with some hologram flake. I've actually made this before. I made these for Nate Marling over at Marling Baits when he and his wife Chelsea had a little boy. I made him some kind of blue themed baits because they had a boy, blue for boy, and sent them off to him. But I posted a few pictures and got a lot of really great feedback, and somebody bought 20 bags of them. So that's what we're doing. So I have 2 cups of Dead On Plastic worm blend, and we're just going to heat that up kind of nice and slow. When you need something clear, for like an actual clear color, it's better to heat your plastic in slower intervals. I normally just nuke them all the way. Time is money. But we're going to take our time a little bit. That way we can get the best clear shell effect that I can get. And you'll see I have the bath ready. I'm not going to put the shells in water. You know, actually, I'm not going to put them in water. But I'm going to try to make all the shells first. Yeah, so we're going to wind up with 160 shells in there. And then we're going to put them in the mold, shoot the core, set those aside, put them in the mold, shoot the core, set it aside. I in no way will get done with this tonight. So this will kind of be one of those videos filmed over a few days. Because this is kind of one of those long journey orders. You know, now if I had 5 of these molds, you know, that would be a different story. However, I don't, so here we go. Okay, so I started that plastisol off at 3 minutes in the microwave. That's a large size cup filled with 2 cups of plastic. So 3 minutes, we'll kind of cook it about halfway, or maybe a little over halfway, and then you take it out, stir it, and you put it back in. That just seems to get that, you know, microwaving it slower is just a little easier on the plastic if you're dealing with straight clear colors. Anyway, so to use the core shot mold, I've done a video on this, so check it out if you would like to see that. But you have these rods, and so when you shoot the shell color, excuse me, it fills in the cavity around the rods. So then you slide off the shell, and then you have an empty bait. And then what you do is you set that empty shell back in the mold, take the rods out, of course. Well, you take the rods out, then you put the shell in the mold. And then whatever color you want the core to be, you then shoot that, and the only place that plastic can go is through the center of that hollow bait, thus giving you the core shot effect. So we're just going to go ahead and close up the mold with the rods in place, and we're going to get a few hand clamps because taking these off 1,000 times kind of sucks. So we're going to get a few clamps, and then once our plastisol is done, we'll be back here to start shooting shells. Speaking of shooting shells, I just loaded up recently on some nice canister shells. So I love fireworks. I'll have to get some of these on here at some point. But yeah, too bad I'm not shooting a bunch of these shells, huh? And just real quick, anytime you're going to be shooting clear, you want to make sure that your injector is nice and clean. You know, clean off the cap there, the nozzle cap there. Make sure that that you've kind of cleaned that out. I like to take a big brush and just brush it out with some worm oil. So, you know, whenever you go to inject that mold and push that injector, you don't want to be pushing a bunch of other colors left over in there into your clear, because it will contaminate it and it will kind of look like crap. Okay, so here's what 3 minutes did, and you can see it's still kind of thick, real jelly. It's not quite cooked over and runny yet. So I'm just going to kind of give this a gentle stir, just to kind of get, you know, because the bottom is the last part to cook. And so you really want to stir the more raw plastic off the bottom and kind of get it into the mixture. That way you get a clean cook through. So I've had a lot of questions about how to reduce bubbles and all of that. You know, this is one way to do it. Just heat it up slowly. You know, if you get moisture in it, there's almost nothing you can do unless you have a vacuum chamber. But we're going to, yeah, you can see there's a slight bit of contamination there, but we're going to go ahead and pop this in for about another 2 minutes and see if it's ready to go after that. Okay, and here we are. You can pretty much see all the way through the bottom of that cup. That is some good looking clear plastic. So we are ready to shoot our first round of cores. So here we go. Nice slow injection. And you want to hold pressure using the core shot mold, because that plastic has to flow around you know, the actual rod, which kind of inhibits the flow. You need to hold some pressure to try to avoid denting. It doesn't dent badly, in my opinion, but I think just because the plastic is inhibited during its flow, I do think if you don't hold pressure, you'll start getting some unwanted dents. But that's just kind of in my experience. But yeah, nice clear plastic, and that's what we want, and hopefully I can sustain that. You know, the more times you reheat, you know, the more kind of less clear your plastic becomes. Dead-on plastic is really resilient to that. Polysol is great for that. Calhoun's. So we're just going to use it till it doesn't look good, and yeah, we're in for a long ride. Come on now. Awesome. You can barely tell that there's even anything there, and that's what we want. And you'll probably see some brown spots. That's just a little bit of rust on the rods. You know, anytime you're dealing with like white or clear, blemishes are going to show up. You're going to have something on your fingers that's going to blemish a perfect bait. You just kind of have to deal with it and get over it. That's the way it goes in bait making. You're never going to keep things perfectly clean. That's not realistic. So, but yeah, these look pretty good. Go ahead and rip that sprue off. Yeah, nice clear sprue. If we can keep it looking like that, then these are going to be pretty spectacular. So now we're just going to slide that off. That worm oil does not work as well as the stuff that I had. Just FYI. But there we go. There is a clear shell. So we're just going to kind of lay them down, you know, kind of flat and straight in here. And once they go back in the mold and get filled with the cores, that will kind of reheat them and straighten them out a little bit. So if you don't lay out your shells perfectly straight, it's not a big deal. Obviously, you don't want to lay them out like that. But if you can just kind of lay them in there, sort of, you know, organized, then you can come back, you know, at a later time and fill in the cores, and it works fine. I've done that many times. So anyway, we're gonna keep sliding these off here. Okay. All right. Come on. Here we go. All right, there's our first 5. 155 to go. Okay, the rods are back in place. All right, time for the second set of shells. All right, here is round number 2 on the shells. A I'll put a little more worm oil in there this time. Just kind of hoping that they'll slide off the rods a little easier, but we'll just kind of see what happens. Okay. Well, you don't really need to fill this up when you're just shooting the shells because they don't really draw in a whole lot, but anywho, come on. Well, you know what? It'll just go over there to our cup. Kind of collecting the clear leftovers in a little cup. That way I can remelt later. Alright, just taking off this next round of shells here. Okay. Alright, still looking good. Okay, 150 more to go. Alright, well, 2 cups made 50 of the shells, so we still have a ton left to go. I mean, this thing is going to be like completely filled up by the time we're done, which is going to be a long time from now, unfortunately. Alright everybody, so it is now the next day. Welcome back. And we have now reached a point where it's time to go ahead and move on and keep making the clear shells. We are not even close. So here's my next cup of just straight plastic for the clear shells, and we're about to make a bunch more of these. So I will spare y'all having to watch more of that, and I'll meet you back as we kind of keep stacking them up. Guys, this might be my order of dead on plastic here. It is. Alright, fresh from Michigan. Now I have enough worm plastic to finish this order, because at the going rate, I was not going to have enough. Well, guess what? We're still doing shells. Here's some more. Here's what we have. I don't know how many are in there. I completely lost count, so we're just going to make a lot. Yeah. Okay, we are back, and we have a little over 100 of them here. 5 more setting up in the mold. The weather's getting kind of rough out, so I may have to stop for a while tonight and then pick back up tomorrow. Yeah, sorry this is taking so long, because I want to get this video out to you guys. I try not to go like more than 4 or 5 days without posting, but sometimes this takes a little bit of time. But yeah, that's enough on the shells. I've shelled you guys to death. Okay, I am gonna stop here finally with the shells, and we're just gonna kind of yeah, I was about forgot the next step. We're just gonna assume that we have a good deal of them knocked out here, because I mean that is a ton, y'all. So we're just gonna see how many it winds up being. I'm sure I'll probably have to do a few more off camera after the video's over, but oh well. So we just take the shells here and we line them back up using the egg sac, as it's called. So you just line that part up there in the center. Okay. And perfect. There we go. Just like that. Oh, now we're gonna actually prepare the core color next. That is currently in the microwave, heating up, and then we will shoot our first actual finished worms. Okay, finally the fun part. Let's make an actual color. So, blue pearl. Alright, that's gonna be the main star of the show here. Okay, this is a little bit over 2 cups of plastisol measured out. If I can use it efficiently, I think that's all I'll need to do all the cores. I mean, the cores don't take very much. Obviously, the sprue is the biggest part of this portion, but we'll see. You never know with these things. So we're just gonna keep stirring that in. Yeah, that's looking really, really, really nice. You want it to be fairly thick because you want a nice distinction between the shell and the core. So we'll probably add a smidge more here. Powders usually go a long way. They're very, very thick. Nothing translucent about them. You know, you can kind of tell by if your knife disappears, or if you can still see the knife in the plastic. You can see it basically all but disappears. Now they weren't just straight blue, so I'm gonna add a little bit of, you know what, this is the wrong thing, hold on. Okay, we're adding a little bit of black pearl, kind of like the pirate ship from Pirates of the Caribbean. Anybody? And that just kind of gives it a little bit of a darker, off blue color that's not exactly like the straight out of the can blue. That's kind of getting lost in there. I'll probably need a little more. Yeah, I kind of can't even tell that it's in there. But we don't want too much, of course. Alrighty. It kind of makes it look more silver than black, to be honest. When you see it in person, you can just kind of see the powder in there. Yeah, perfect. See how it's just not quite as blue? And you know, maybe you like the light blue better. I'm just making them like I did the first time. You know, if you have this mold, you can certainly make it however you want. And then hologram glitter, silver hologram glitter. I absolutely love this stuff. So we're gonna get that stirred in. This really adds a nice sparkle, you know, because if normally you would add maybe just a little bit of black flake to your clear shell, or maybe a little bit of silver flake, something to give it a little bit of life, but all of it's in the core on this one, so that's looking about there. Just a smidge more, and I think we are good to go. So that is our core color. And again, I'm using the Black Bucket Dead On Plastic, the sinking plastic. So I'm actually not going to put salt in these. A, because salt thickens up the mix and it doesn't shoot through the cores as well. And B, because it's thick sinking plastic, I'll still get a heavy weighted stick worm like you want without the trouble with salt. So we're going completely saltless on these stick worms. And I gotta say, it feels great. Okay, let's shoot some cores. You want to shoot your cores fairly hot. That way they penetrate the little teeny tiny openings in those baits, or excuse me, in the shells. So hopefully that was hot enough. And I definitely like to hold a lot of pressure. So again, I think that's one of the benefits of not needing salt, is I think you just get a little better penetration into your cores. So, but you know, sometimes you have a core that doesn't fill, just something happens. So hopefully those worked out. We'll know in just a minute. All right, y'all know what time it is. Drum roll, please. Okay, please work. Please have worked. Yes! There we go. Definitely flashed over here. So what that tells me is that those clamps may not be enough. But that's perfectly fine with me at this point. I really don't care. I will happily screw those in if it means that I get them right and don't have to remake any of them, because once one of these shells kind of half fills, that's it. You can't get it back. There's, you know, you can't rip half the core back out and then put the shell back in. Nope, it's gone. And you always have a little bit of kind of leftover on the front sometimes. So if you really want to be kind of snooty about it, just snip it with some scissors. But yeah, there you go. Hope y'all can see that flake. Nice blue pearl core. A really, really beautiful worm. There it is. Oh God, I almost spilled that over. First one's in the bath. Let's get the next ones ready. Okay, here we go. Next run of cores. And you don't need much. The cores barely, like I said, they barely take anything. So I like to kind of shoot it fast. That way the plastic gets in the cores quickly and hold lots of pressure. But never put your weight or over press on your injector. You don't want an accident, believe me. So just kind of, whenever I say hold pressure, you know, I just mean just whenever you inject, just keep the pressure on it. That doesn't mean give it all your strength, because something's gonna give and it's not gonna be pretty. Okay, it's only been about a minute and I'm sure the sprue isn't set up all the way, but the good news is you don't really need it to be. No, all we care about are the cores. Perfect. I mean, look at that. All of those came out just right. Let me scooch the bath over and we'll just go ahead and just snip them off all nice and clean the first time. Yeah, looking good. Okay. Take this sprue, put it in our sprue cup. Technically that's the runner. The sprue is just the opening, that's the runner. I call the whole thing a sprue. Just kind of old habits, I guess. Yeah, there we go. There's the next round of core shots. Come on now. Alright. Whoops. Didn't quite have that one where it goes. Same with that one. Okay. Looks good. Well, looks like we got one party foul. Why that stopped, I have no clue, because this was just fine. And there's nothing wrong there. That's an open end. Sometimes I guess it just doesn't work out, but you know, that's kind of neat in its own right, I guess, maybe, who knows. So here we go though. We'll go ahead and chop these off, and by now y'all kind of get it, what they look like and what we're doing. We're just trying to make as much progress here as we can. Okay, well, here's 5 more. Let's see, yeah, so here they are, looking good. So I think for tonight I'm gonna hang it up, guys. It is getting pretty late and I've got to get up and go to work tomorrow, work a full day. Then I have a photo shoot. Oddly enough, my sister does a lot of photography for various businesses and stuff like that, and she's in need of a couple bodies to be in some photographs. So yeah, my amateur modeling career. No, I'm totally kidding. You see the water kind of clouds it up after a little bit. There's one that's not clouded and one that is, but that's probably, I don't know, 40 something maybe. So about a third, well, not even a third really, but that's what I'm gonna do tonight. And yeah, it's definitely been a fun little project here, but we're not done. Okay, here is the last one that we have. There are the other ones. Alright, so how many does this now make? Any guesses? I'm sure there's laundry noise in the back. Any guesses here how many that is? I'll give you a hint. We're not done. That is 100 of these. And if you'll remember, the order was for 160. So, needless to say, we're gonna stop the video here because I don't want to keep dragging the video on. And you've already seen what we're doing. And yeah, I just don't want to keep putting the video off, and I need to like crack down without worrying about the camera and finish this dang thing. Yeah, that's it. What do you guys think? Yeah, look at that. That is pretty nice. And wow, what a challenge doing those 5 at a time. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in and joining me on this little bait adventure. And yeah, we're still not done. So, just goes to show, I don't get a lot of time to work on baits or the YouTube channel during the week. I get a few hours in the evenings, a couple nights a week. So a big order like this, you know, definitely I don't get it done in 1, 2 days, apparently not even 3 days on this one. But tomorrow's Friday, I get off work early. I should be able to try and knock out the rest of these unless something else comes up. You know, I do have a family and stuff, so, but yeah, definitely a challenging order. Let me know what you guys think about the color. I've posted it on Instagram before. Like I said, I made these for Nate Marling because he had a little boy, Blue Baits. So, and I guess somebody really liked them. So if this is your order, yeah, this is really tough. So I really hope you enjoy them, and I hope you catch some big fish on them. Because as you can see, a lot of work goes into it. But thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video and how crazy and dumb I am to make these 5 at a time. I'm sure I'll get a few jokes about that, but that's all part of the fun. Again, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.